Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Friday. The last 2 days I've been screwed up because that doctor's appointment on Tuesday. So on Wednesday I said it was Tuesday. Yesterday I said it was Wednesday. Where the hell did the day go? But today is Friday the 26th. I'm right on this one because I checked. I should have checked the thing on the computer that tells you what frickin' day it is, right? So I thought today we'd do a little bit of question and answering and another couple short stories of how police have been involved because Randy seems to enjoy that. So I've got one that will top that. All right, stay tuned. Alrighty, my name is Eric, and this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Friday. This is the end of the week, guys, for you guys who work fivers. And it's available on podcast also for your listening pleasure at any time. Binge watch or listen. So, been pretty busy. I did do some videoing yesterday of some of the units that came in, and the yard is full. But I didn't get time yesterday afternoon to get anything uploaded, so I gotta edit and get it uploaded. Hopefully it'll be either today or tomorrow. I got my grandson down here helping too. So if we can get it knocked out today, I'll get it up today. If not, then sometime tomorrow. Alright, so another police story. If you're in this business very long, you're going to develop stories. And these are real truth stories. I mean, you can't make this crap up. I'm telling you right now. As some of you well know, I buy and sell a lot of farm equipment. And that even includes construction, whether it's dozers, tractors, haying equipment, tillage equipment, you name it. If I can buy it right and we can fix it if it needs fixing and then turn around and flip it, we do. That's part of my, what I call slush money. It still goes through the business and gets, in the buy-sell column. If any money is profits, we still have to show those profits, right? But that's my forte, is finding the diamond in the rough and then getting it cleaned up. And then the tendency I do is, this is how long I hold on to most stuff, is I'll hold on to it and try it on the farm, if it's a piece of farm equipment, before I let it go. That way I know that it was running 100% when it left here, and it's not just putting lipstick on a pig, Because if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. You throw a paint job on a piece of crap, and it's still a piece of crap. I don't care how pretty it is. So, I combed through, I used to Craigslist, but it's got there's so many scams there. But I do look through Marketplace, and there are some groups within Marketplace that have buy-sell groups. But I was scrolling down through, and here was this John Deere, and I think it was 420 dozer. And there was 4 or 5 different pictures of it. And the price was $1,500. Now, just so you know, I bought one identical to that for $2,000, and I bought one for parts that I give $300 for, to kind of give you an idea of what they go for. They're not a high dollar thing. They're like a overgrown Tonka truck, Tonka dozer. They're not going to push a lot of dirt. You can't get in a hurry with them. Claude had one, I had one, but they had this one on Facebook Marketplace. So I messaged the guy. So, do you still have it? Yep. Give me the address and let me go look at it. So we hooked up the gooseneck and we went out and took a look at it. And it was in pretty decent shape, but the one side, the steering clutch wasn't perfect. It needed some adjusting. So I tell the guy, where are you? He said, well, I'm at work. I said, is there somebody that we can pay and then just take the dozer? And he goes, yeah. He said, my friend should be right out. It's at his house. It's at his farm. So the guy comes out and says, I'm surprised that he's selling it. And not to be nosy, but what are you paying for it? And I said, $1,500. He said, shoot, well, I'd have bought it for that. And I almost said, would you give me two? So the steering clutches are not helping get up on a steel ramp because you got my ramp is steel coming up, but then it levels off and it's all wood, right? And we have a winch, so we end up hooking a winch to the front of the blade and then just letting the dozer just free spool up onto it. And then once it was up onto the wood, then we could play with the clutch. But it's still, when you have one that steers one direction good and not so much the other, the tendency is it wants to shoot off the trailer. So we were there probably 2 hours freaking with this thing, getting it chained down so that it couldn't go anywhere. You got to do a 4-point chain on a dozer if you didn't know that. So we get it all loaded up. And I head for home with it, Claude and I. Didn't think another thing of it. And I mean, I left the guy the money, plus I give him a business card of our business. So we get back to the shop, and we're running late by now. And I tell Claude, let's just leave the dozer on the trailer for tonight. I'll run that up home, and in the morning we'll get it unloaded and look at what we got to do for steering clutches. Well, I get up early in the morning, so I go to bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock. I guess at 8:30, the state troopers were pounding on my front door. And I don't know about you, but with me, I got hearing aids to start with, right? I get up early in the morning, so I'm sound asleep pretty early in the evening, and a nuclear bomb could go off, and I probably wouldn't hear it. Even with the dogs, with the time I only had one. And then they came the following morning while we were at work, because they went to the house again, and the dozer was gone. Well, the dozer was on the back of the trailer and backed in down at the shop. So I guess he spotted it on the way back through and pulled in, him and his partner. And they come in, they say, what are you doing with a stolen dozer? I said, stolen dozer? He goes, yep. He said that we got a call yesterday that somebody stole a dozer out of somebody's yard. And I said, well, because the guy didn't give me a receipt because it wasn't his dozer. So I bring both the cops around the counter to where my computer is. And that listing is still up. He hasn't taken it down yet. So I told both of them, I said, what is that right there? And they said, well, it looks like a dozer for sale. I said, yep, it's that one. And I bought it. And this is the address we picked it up at. This is the guy's name that we gave the money to for the owner. And on the 6th picture in, there was a picture of this piece of crap Troy built lawnmower. And the guy is saying that no, the dozer wasn't for sale. It was a Troy built for $1,500. You couldn't. I wouldn't pay $1,500 for a brand new one on a good day, let alone a piece of crap used crap. So the guy says, Eric, you and Claude are in the right. We can see all that. He's a correction officer and he's not happy. What can we do about it? I said, we can do exactly if that old guy still got my money, I'll run this dozer back over right now. You can follow me if you want. I'll dump it back where I found it and then be done. So the trooper made a few calls, make sure that the guy was going to be there to give me the money back. So when the dozer showed up. But again, I knew the state troopers. And we were all laughing in the shop because I told him Claude made me do it. That Claude is the criminal. He should have known better. Maybe I should have known better. But that race right up there with the, taking somebody's lawnmowers that didn't even belong to the guy that wanted us to have his service done. But if you're going to be in business very long, you're going to have some, Randy, you said when you get lemons, make lemonades. Exactly. You can't make it screw up your day, your week, you got two choices. You can either be angry or you can laugh about it. I chose to laugh about it because I at first I was a little pissed that this little bastard, reneged. But like the troopers say, you're in the right, he's in the right. Where do we go from here? And I said, well, so that I'm still respected in the community, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to take it back. It's not worth $1,500 for my reputation. Plus, I don't do well in jails. All right, so let's jump right into the questions. Miguel, you got a portable bandsaw, and you're running a Predator engine on it. And you mentioned that the mice have chewed up the wires and chewed up the fuel lines and stuff like that. And if you have it parked out, away from your home, tendency is porcupines will do most of the damage. Mice will build nests where they can build nests. But a couple things you didn't tell me. You didn't tell me how old the Predator is and how long ago you replaced it when the Honda had issues. So we'll start right from the very basics. I want a compression check. I've seen Predators come through with no compression or little to no compression, and they will start on carb cleaner. Do not use starting fluid. Get a can of carb cleaner. That way you're not getting the rings and the piston too hot. Once I know that it's got good compression, I'm going to go to fire. You say fire on, starting fluid, but not with the gas. Well, again, low compression will start with carburetor or starting fluid, but will not start on bringing the fuel up. It hasn't got enough compression. So once we've eliminated those two, then we'll go to fuel. And where I start is at the closest point, all right? And that is, am I getting fuel from the tank to the carburetor? Now, most carburetors, even the Predators, are coming through with that electric solenoid on the bottom, and they do go bad. Or they get gummed up from sitting long periods of time. And it sounds like your sawmill sits quite a long time because you're just giving time for the mice to chew all the fuel lines and wires and build nests. And one other thing I checked, Miguel, is you have the two wires coming from your whip to your electric solenoid. If one of them has been chewed, it may not allow it when you turn the key to the on position. It may not be opening up that fuel solenoid. So that's the next thing is I would start with fresh fuel, drain the tank, start with fresh fuel, and just most of the typical bandsaw mills that I see, they have like a 2-gallon tank, and then it gravity feeds down through to the actual Predator motor. And so that's going to be an easy check. If you're getting fuel from the fuel tank to the carburetor, but not getting fuel into the carburetor, then you know that it's a restriction, whether it be the electric solenoid or your needle and seat could be gummed up, and it's not allowing the fuel to fill the bowl. And that happens with it sitting long periods of time. If the needle and seat aren't working as the way they should, when the float goes down, it allows fuel in, and when the carburetor is full, the float will go up and it will close off. The needle will go up into the seat and stop the fuel. Now, if it sits long periods of time when there's fuel in the carburetor, which I tell everybody that I know, take, and when you're all done with it for the day or the week or the month, take and shut the fuel off. Put an inline fuel shut off, shut that off, and just let it run itself dry so that the carburetor is dry. And what is that doing? Well, it's doing a couple things. It's making sure that you don't have any ethanol, water, crapola inside your tank, because it will eat the rubbers and make a mess of your carburetor. But it's also allowing the float to come all the way down so the needle and seat are open, right? If it's just long periods of time and the fuel is still in the carburetor, the float's up here, it's going to seal itself where it won't allow any fuel in. So if you do it the way I tell you to do it, or the way I suggest you do it, is you'd have more of an issue with overfueling than no fuel. So I would try that, and I want to know more about it. So I'll respond to your comment, but if you've tried those things, let me know, and let me know what else you've tried, and we'll troubleshoot this together. There's a number of good mechanics on this channel that are also reading those comments. It will help out. Bill, and you're asking what software do we use at the shop? To be honest with you, I created my own. QuickBooks is a good one, but the problem that I ran into is with running so many different OEM and aftermarket parts, and not only did I do like all the standard OEMs on the lawn and garden side, I also was doing a lot of the tractor parts. So the software, every piece of software I looked at could not handle the volume of items and pricing and everything else. So I just basically took an Excel sheet and created my own inventory control, and it would let me know how many units were sold a month, and I could price them, everything else, and we went with that. If you don't have a lot of items, QuickBooks is one that it comes with the SKUs and everything. That you just put the tag on each part that you're trying to sell, what have you. But for us, what works well for us is we just have it in the Excel sheet. We can pull it up quick by a part number, and voila. So there's a lot of them out there. Do your due diligence. Some are very expensive and not worth the money. To Kevin, your lawnmower has spark. but your marriage doesn't. How do I fix that? I don't know how old you are, but as the older it gets, that spark gets dimmer. And you're just looking for companionship, right? But the real truth is you need to figure out why the two of you got together. What was it about her that made you feel like you wanted to be and spend the rest of your life with her? And she has to do the same thing, because sometimes we get so busy we forget why we're with the other person. And that's easy to do if you got kids, because you're focused on the kids and not on each other. Where I recommend that you have date nights, where just you and her go have dinner somewhere. Let, grandma and grandpa watch the kids for a couple hours and just enjoy each other's company. Again, people drift apart because of the lack of communication, because our lives become so busy that we forget and stop communicating. And that leads to friction, because the one doesn't feel like they're loved enough, or that the other one doesn't have any time for them anymore. And it's usually just the opposite, that both of you are so tied up in work and bills and kids and what have you. And even when you become grandparents, you've got a little more time maybe, but people can get tied up in, like running a business. And the guy or gal can put all their energy towards the business and nothing towards the home life. And when you do that, the other one feels neglected and will most often leave. So that would be my suggestion. Alright, so I'm going to start wrapping up this morning's video. I don't want it over 25 minutes long. But the key is how you approach anything in life. And you can approach it pissed off, pessimistic, what have you. Or you can look at the positives within a negative and still make it a positive. Life is what you make it. You do have choices in life. And the choice to spend more time with your partner and do things that they enjoy doing is part of it. Or you can neglect them and just keep doing your own thing, and then wonder why the other one doesn't seem like they have much feelings for you, because you've neglected that part of your well-rounded human being's part. And they either leave or there's no spark. So on that note, you guys have a great Friday. We'll catch you here bright and early Monday morning for the weekday. And I'll see if I can't get some work videos up, and I'll have something over the weekend. All right, have a great day.